How's it going, everybody? My name's Warner Fields with Fields of Profit. Today, I'm joined by my friend Joji, who is here to teach us a little bit about selling used books, a little bit out of the ordinary for the channel. I had the opportunity to meet Joji in Miami. He makes great content over on YouTube as well. But if you just want to kind of briefly introduce yourself, let them know a little bit about you, we can jump into the meat of today's episode.
Sure, sounds good. So my name is Joji. I'm actually a high school chemistry teacher, and on the side, I sell books. I do all online book arbitrage. And similar to you, Warner, I actually just flipped textbooks during school. I actually graduated debt-free because of that, literally just
That's
flipping
awesome.
textbooks at school. And now that I'm a teacher, I still have a side hustle. I don't have as much time as I used to because I have a full-time job, but we're going to go over three Keepa features that I think are not really known by a lot of people. They're definitely great tools that you can use to find some books for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, it's not the typical side hustle you think of with the high school chemistry teacher, I suppose, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Nobody knows either. So one of these days, someone's gonna find the YouTube channel, and it'll be hilarious.
Exactly. Have they found the YouTube channel yet?
No one's found the YouTube
Okay,
channel yet.
okay.
But one of
That's
these
good.
days,
Yeah, that'll be a fun day for you when they find
yeah,
that.
it'll be great. Yeah.
Yeah. So just kind of also, what are your sales sitting at about with that, used book model? I assume you run at pretty decent margins with that as well.
Yeah, very good. So
Yeah.
last year did 105K in gross revenue. It was about $30,000 in profit. So just to give you a little bit of idea, the average book cost is 27. The average sale price was 99, but the books take on average about 3.5 months to sell. So my model is actually looking for books that are higher sales rank, so they don't move as quick, but the ROI, like the return on the book, can be pretty insane. Like it's definitely not uncommon to buy a book, for really cheap and actually double, maybe even triple your money on that book.
Yeah. And we're going to be breaking down like a specific example, exactly how he sourced it in a couple minutes here as well. But it's really cool. And especially, I know a lot of you guys are more used to watching like online arbitrage or wholesale content, but I came from books. It's an awesome way to make a good amount of money if you don't have a ton of money to start. Book online arbitrage is pretty decent for that way. And especially going out to thrift stores and all that kind of stuff. Books is just a great way. If you don't have a ton of money, definitely listen to Joji, see what he has to say there. So yeah, kind of backing up a little bit. What was that thing that was like, all right, I want to be an Amazon seller? How did you stumble into that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I started with someone named Steve Rakin, who I'm sure you're familiar with. This guy was like, bada bing, bada boom, man, the profits are coming soon. And from there, I was honestly hooked. Like I was in college at the time, so I was a young guy like yourself. And I remember just going to a Goodwill, picking up a CD for like 99 cents, flipping it for $60. And I was like, dude, no way this thing sold for $60. It was absolutely insane. And that started it. I was in college at the time. And then I realized like, hey, textbooks are really expensive. Like most books could be 60, 70, like even $100 plus. And so that's when I started getting the Facebook textbook exchange groups, the free and for sale groups, and it kind of just spiraled from there. And like I said, I was able to basically graduate with a bachelor's and a master's degree debt free, literally just cash flowed just from flipping textbooks. So I knew immediately once I was flipping textbooks, like, dude, there's money in this. It's really not that hard, and it just takes a little hustle, like I'm sure you know.
Yeah, exactly. I did the same thing. Setting up shop locally. Hey, come sell me your textbooks. Like you're just hustling, right? But that's what
Exactly.
it takes. It's awesome. You graduate
For
debt
sure.
free there. Yeah. So you're going through the journey. Like, oh, I want to sell used books. Like this seems pretty legit. How do you go from buying books in person to discovering you can do it online, all from kind of your desk?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, it was just me being curious about Keepa. So fast forward after I got my master's degree and I became a teacher, it's like all of a sudden I don't have as much time like in between classes to be on campus picking up books. So I kind of had to transition away from that. And so I was like, okay, well, how can I find books online? I actually started with OfferUp. So I'm not sure if you've ever done any
I
OfferUp
don't know if
online
I
book
have. Yeah.
arbitrage. Yeah, but I have a couple videos on my channel about that as well. But yeah, I started with OfferUp. Some people will list their college textbooks. It's just another means of getting books. Instead of saying, hey, I want $20 for this book, they just throw it up on OfferUp. And they had this, shipping enabled button. And I just would buy books that way. And then started transitioning to like, is there other ways for you to find books? So, Facebook Marketplace and Mercari also work for that. But eventually I just stumbled upon some of the softwares which I'm sure you've used, like eFlip, there's an
Yeah.
arbitrage, there's a couple of them. So I use eFlip for a little bit, but then I noticed that Keepa actually had some features that, no one, I don't think anyone at the time was talking about them. And I think there are ones that you might need a little more practice to use, but I realized that if you utilize like the Keep a Deals page, the product finder tab, the track product feature, you could really find some undervalued books and then flip them and make money just by selling those books back for what they're worth.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and instead of, especially if you're new to Amazon, that probably sounds like a foreign language to you. So
Yeah.
instead of just kind of talking about it, Joji went ahead and pulled some examples of some different books he sold. So we're gonna go ahead and break down one of those examples, show you how you might be able to do the exact same thing and go find a good profitable used book.
All right, let's do it, man. All right, so the first book that I found was using the Keep a Deals page. This is a practical pharmacology book. You can see I bought it on December 23rd. And if we go to the Keep a chart, the day that I bought this here was actually when the price of this book actually went from $36 down to 92 cents. So this was
Wow.
actually just a complete repricing here. And if we take a look at the breadth of data, this book doesn't move a ton, but the sales rank is definitely dropping. And if you don't know, I'm sure you know because you watch Warner's channel, but if when the sales rank drop, that means that the book sells. And what you can tell is that in the previous year, this book, when it was moving, when it was selling north of 40, north of 50. And basically, the way that I found this was using the Keep a Deals page. So the way that you would do that, or way you would find that, is you just go over to the Keep a main page. In the top left, there's this button called the Deals page, the Deals tab. And what you can do is basically search for whatever item you want. And we're going to get into the product finder a little bit later, but essentially, I was looking for used books here. So I click this little use button on the left. You can limit the drop interval. So essentially, you're looking for a book that holds a certain level of value, and then over a specific time interval, it drops. And so in this case, in this search I'm doing right now, I'm looking for a drop interval of about a month. So this drop that I'm going to define down here, it happens over a month's worth of time. This drop percentage range is like, hey, take this book that has a certain value and you can select like what percentage you want that drop to be. So between 40 and 80% is what I have this search at. And you can also have that as a dollar amount as well. So here I'm saying, not only do I want the drop percentage to be at least 40%, I also want it to be a dollar amount of at least 26 bucks. So I'm really looking for a book that has held some value and has dropped recently in price over the last month. In this price range right now, I've set it to 13 to 34, completely arbitrary, but it's like, hey, this is what the book is worth right now. Like if you wanted to buy on Amazon, down here, you can input the sales rank. So for me, I'm looking sales rank between 1 and 2 million. And I'm going to also filter all of these results by the drop percentage or by the drop here. And you can do this for any category on Keepa. I do it specifically for books because I only sell books. And so as an example, you would get down here, I have 1,500 results that meet these criteria. And you can just go one by one down the bottom right. Not sure if you can see there, but it kind of hovers the Keepa graph. So you can do some basic Keepa research. And so here's an example of a book I might open up and go, wow, this is really interesting, because if you take a look at this book and when it has sold, even though it hasn't sold a lot, there have been sales like right here. This is a sale at $149 for this book. Here's a sale back here for 71. So this is a book that maybe has only moved 4 or 5 times in the recent past, but all of a sudden you can see Keep a Deals found us this book because it decreased in price quite significantly in a short period of time. What that means is there could be an opportunity of buying this book and flipping it for maybe what its true value is. Now, I would definitely recommend you expand the data a little bit further to see if potentially this book had consistent data like that. But that's kind of just the way that you do that. You just go example by example until you can find something that could potentially be good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Dropping some sauce here for the channel.
Okay, I appreciate it, man.
Sweet. So that was an awesome breakdown from Joji. That's just one example. And you found that one book for 92 cents. How much did it end up selling for?
That one sold for $149.99.
Awesome.
So I definitely used some other Keepa skills to basically charge more for it. So just to give you a little context, that book normally sells around 40 or 50 bucks. But at the time when I bought the book, it was right before textbook season. And when I got it from the merchant fulfilled seller, it was like right at the middle to the end of textbook season. And there was only one person selling the book. I think they're listed theirs for 30 bucks. They sold out. And I was like, all right, let's go back into time. Let's see how high has this book sold for in the past? And I think it had sold for like up to 140 bucks. And I was like, all right,
awesome.
this is middle to end of textbook season. Somebody 100% needs this book because in the past 3 textbook seasons, it has sold at least 10 times. I was like, I'm the only person who's in the market. I own the market. So if someone wants the book, they want it from me. So I actually merchant fulfilled it for $149.99.
Yep. I found I found a book at a thrift store a while back. I paid like $1 for it and it was listed for like $7,000 on Amazon. It actually ended up selling up for like several $100. It wasn't as cool as I thought it was, but that was my kind of used book story there.
Dude, books, man,
yeah,
flip can be amazing.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And yeah, so what I really like about the used book model and really just books in general is it's not super capital intensive, which also helps you kind of, not need to be full time on it and all that kind of stuff. So, you're talking about being a teacher on top of that. Like how much time are you actually spending to make that, that 30 grand in profit?
Yeah, very good. So right now I'm also a new dad. So I have a little boy. So I basically spend about an hour and a half worth of time sourcing. I just recently picked up a couple of VAs, but yeah, that whole year, 2022, it's about 2 hours of work a day after school every single day. So it's just putting in consistency, putting in the reps, like I know you always say. And that was basically, 2 hours a day is basically able to give me $30,000 of profit.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's not going to make you a millionaire, but like that's pretty significant for pretty much anyone watching this video, right? Like,
100%.
That's super awesome stuff. Yeah, and so maybe looking forward a little bit, what's your long-term goals? you wanting to do some regular OA, some wholesale? Are you happy with books? What's your goals?
100%. Yeah, I want to transition to OA. So I'm in the process
Okay.
of trying to automate all the book buying business. So obviously, Amazon does a great job of automating fulfillment, customer service. Like that's just baked in with Amazon FBA. Then I was able to get a prep center. They're able to basically receive all the books that I send to them, ship them to Amazon. So really, the only thing left is a sourcing. So that's why I brought on a couple of VAs, a couple of people to help me with the sourcing. So the goal is to try to transition out of that, then start transitioning into OA and wholesale. In other words, just to copy Warner Fields and do something like that.
Yeah, that's awesome though. So basically getting close to the semi-automated point, so you might as well just let the business do its thing, I guess, right?
Yeah, 100%. Right now, we're at the time where it's like my wife and I were into financial independence, retire early. So we definitely have been growing our net worth and we definitely have tons of capital to deploy. So there's no way that I could spend the money that we have on buying books anymore. So it's like maybe it'd be better to do some of what you did, which is if you have the capital, maybe go for those things that move faster with a much lower ROI and just see how that goes. So yeah, super excited to go on that journey.
Yeah, that's awesome. Really appreciate you jumping on the channel with us. Joji's actually going to be going ahead and making a video showing you 2 other ways to source products. So that's going to be on his channel. We'll link his channel down below as well. For the people, if they want to reach out, ask you any questions, anything like that, where can they find you?
100%. So yeah, you can find me on my YouTube channel. It's just my name, Joji Davenport. You can also find me on Instagram, which is Joji_Davenport. And if you want to message me, send me a DM and I'll be happy to respond.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on the channel, Joji. Really appreciate you guys watching this video. If you did get value out of it, if you could hit the subscribe button, really appreciate that for adding some value to your business. If you guys have any questions, comments, anything like that, feel free to drop those down below as well. Really appreciate you guys watching this video and I'll see you next time.
Peace.